Hey everybody, Jabman025 here. Today I'm taking a look at my 127th Master Grade, the Full Armor Gundam Burr-Ka, also called Gundam Thunderbolt, named after the same OVA. It was also in a movie called Gundam Thunderbolt December Sky, which I highly recommend. Let's have a look and see what we got. Now this Gundam was made before the Mark II, so it still uses a core fighter, although this core fighter looks very different than most. It has thrusters on the front, a couple engines on the back. Kinda looks like an old school core fighter, but also kinda not. Almost like a pod racer from Star Wars. Neat looking though. You fold up the thrusters as so, bend them back as so, move in the landing gear as so, and guess what? You got yourself a core block. Transformation's pretty simple, but still kind of neat. I really like this design. Torso slides right in there, no problem whatsoever. And I like the red they use on this kit, kind of a deep brick red. Not as bright as most reds on a Gundam. And you can see lots of joints and connections, lots of things happening in this kit. On the rest of the armor, you can see there's a gap there between the top of the chest and the opening. That's going to come into play later with the armor. You can open up and see the pilot inside. There is one beam saber here hidden under the backpack, under the thrusters. You can bend that out and have him pull that if you want. Kind of a last-ditch beam saber. If you used everything else, and there's still that beam saber there. Slides out and can be popped out real easily. Thrusters will move slightly and look real good. A lot of small pieces on this kit. Not a terribly difficult kit, but it's a long build. So there's a lot to do here. Gundam head. Basic Gundam head, basic build. You've done it all before. I did want to point out that the yellow on this particular kit looks amazing. That's not a sticker. That's just how the yellow comes. Usually on a yellow on a Gundam kit, the yellow ends up looking orange or just ugly or whatever. This looks great. Now, here's some point of contention for some people. This is the arm joint. Fairly basic, a few changes here and there from standard arm joints. But what gets people's ire up, I've seen, are these things. These are vinyl sleeves, a kind of gray plastic. The best way I can describe it is, remember those Halloween costumes we wore as kids? How they were virtually unrippable, but you can crumple them up real good? Basically the same stuff. And this is going to go over that joint. Now, the way they recommend you do this is to use this action stand they give you. It has a different connection or different pull on the end of it. It's about the exact same width of the arm joints and the other joints in the kit for that matter. What you're going to do is take this sleeve and put it over that long pole. You're then going to crumple it up, as so. Move the top, move the bottom, and squish it together. It creates kind of a random pattern of crunchiness. Does that make sense? Not really. Who cares? The point is, the way I did this is not going to be the same way anyone else does it. It gives a little bit of individual character to each individual kit. You essentially put that stuff over the joint of the arm and then use this little piece down here at the end, this little plastic piece right there. Just hold it on top. You then cut away that excess with a knife or a pair of scissors. You then put the armor around it. You will need to take a pair of tweezers and maneuver certain pieces around, like those white sections on the elbow. You have to go literally tear through pieces of it, or at least stretch it through. I had to take one piece off. I never actually tore it. It does not hurt posability at all. In fact, it kind of looks neat when that big crumply part stretches out for the bend. So you still get a really good bend out of it. I've heard a lot of people don't like the way this looks, or they don't think it's necessary, or what have you. There's no rule that says you have to have it. If you don't like it, if you don't want to fool with it, you can just skip it altogether. It'll just look like a standard Gundam joint you've seen before. Interchangeable fingers on this kit. I was expecting 3.0 hands. No, this is interchangeable fingers. This is a different kind of connection. We're going to call these interchangeable fingers 2.0. The fingers can still have a little bit of movement. They're not locked in place. Or the four fingers anyway. The thumb's still standard, move anywhere you want. And you can see the joints on the shoulders. The joints can move out, gets lots of mobility, looks real good. On the legs, lots of thrusters all over this Gundam in general, but a lot on the legs in every which direction. This uses the plastic sleeves, or the vinyl sleeves again, one at the top at the hip, one at the middle at the knee, and a third down at the ankle. So there's 6 total on the legs, 3 for each leg. And I actually really like the way this looks. Some people have said they think it looks hideous. I like it. It gives a little bit more character. This looks like a machine of war. And that's exactly what the full armor is, and you'll see what I mean later. There are stickers in each individual thruster, or at least the ones that stick out, and you can use them or not. If you don't, they're still gray at the bottom. The the stickers kind of give it a gray, silvery mesh look, and I like that better. But like I said, there's no rule that says you have to use it. Bend on the knees, real good. Ankles, real good. Lots of posability out of this guy. However, I'll spoil it now. Yeah, you're going to need an action base, and I'll show you why. Decals. Yeesh. This is not as bad as it looks. Still bad. There's not as many decals as you think there are here. A lot of them are very big, and there's a lot of bonus decals, which I'm always in favor of, that you don't have to use if you don't want to. If you just go by the standard, there's still a lot of decals to do. But, yeah, keep that in mind. First thing I decaled up was the main Gundam itself. Usually this would be the point where I think, okay, I'm just about done with this kit. Here is about the halfway point. Decal up the main Gundam itself. Decals on the shoulders, lots of panel lining, 04. As I was building this guy, there's one kit that kind of reminded me of a little bit, and that's the G4 and G5 Gundams. Which makes sense. They were made around the same time, so they're going to have some similarities. And when you build this kit, you'll be struck by other similarities. This is a little bit like the Gundam. This is a little bit like other Gundams I've built. This is, details here and there, which I like. It's a new kit. They don't reuse any parts, but certain things will seem familiar. On the armor, they give you an option here on the chest. They can use those vented sections, or you can take those little plastic pieces and put those in there on top. In the anime, you see both. I just went with the vents because I thought it looked cooler. And the way this stuff hooks on, parts of it hook into the chest. Other parts are held in by key points, like these white pieces here on the shoulder. That kind of holds other pieces on there. Until you put that piece on, the only thing really holding them on is gravity. Like on the shoulders, these white pieces on the shoulders kind of holds everything together. So these are key points that kind of grapple everything together. Other parts on the arm, they just 2 pieces connect together over the arm. Legs, very similar. Just connects right over the arm, or whatever the leg, and you don't even see a difference. They even have armor for the bottom of the feet with little claws on them. In the anime, you see the claws pop out as so and grapple onto asteroids or rocks or what have you. Remember, it's in 0G, so you gotta have a way to stop. And I like that they included that here. The skirt armor is kind of strange in that each individual skirt armor, 2 on the front, 2 on the back, and the 2 sides, parts flip open or flip out to reveal missiles. Once you put the armor on top of it, as so, you can open up and see 4 missiles on each section. So there are 4 missiles on both fronts, both sides, and the back. So yes, this Gundam really does have missiles in its butt. I said it. Decals. More decals on the armor. Lots of pinstriping, lots of details. Looks really good, actually. I like the pinstriping on this kit. It really accents it well. But all over the place. They don't go overkill with them, and I like the decals they chose. The ones on the shoulders are particularly nice. But yeah, good decals, but there are a good chunk of them. But hey, it's Verka kit. The backpack is gigantic. This basically, when you build the backpack, it's a kit unto itself. There's so much stuff going on in this kit, or in this backpack rather. You got the guns, you got the missiles, you got all the thrusters, you got inner joints, which you'll see later. It's a very complicated backpack, and it's huge too. So huge that when you get it, it will not stand on its own, not even close. They do give you the action stand, which I do not trust. And I went ahead and used an action base. That action stand just didn't seem very strong to me. 2 more beam sabers, 1 on each side. You got thrusters all over the thing. You got the big booster packs on the back. And it just keeps going and going and going and going. That gray section, hold on the silver section down there, pardon me, on the thrusters, those are stickers again. I like the way they look. Very detailed, very nice. Again, more decals on the backpack. More pinstriping, I like it. That gray section you see in the center of the backpack, that is painting. That's the only painting I did on this kit. Otherwise, it just comes white. That gray section right there in the center. That's me painting. You can paint it if you want, or you can just leave it white. Your call. But yeah, huge, gigantic backpack. It just keeps going and going and going. The cannon and the missile launcher on the top can be moved a little bit, and I'll show you more on that later. The connection they actually make is to the back of the... okay, let's just say it. It's in the bottom of the butt. It slides right in. It's a good connection, not stupendous. I had it fall off once, and only once, and I'll tell you why in a bit. But I didn't trust that action stand. I didn't think it was strong enough or had enough strength to hold up that big Gundam. Accessories. I started off with 4 shields. 4 of them. Kind of a brick red with an orange accent, which I kind of like. And you can see those white kind of screws going through. In all the pictures they show you, those screws are gray, but I kind of like the white look, so I just left it alone. You also have this big mamma jamma. This is a double-barreled beam cannon, and it's big, mean, and nasty, and I like it. It is a mean-looking piece of machinery. It's 2 big barrels of death, essentially, and I really like the way it looks. Decals on there. Those orange things aren't decals, surprisingly. That's actually the way it comes. And you've got a 5-shot missile launcher on the other arm. Looks nice, but yeah, that double-barrel beam cannon is pretty cool. So, how's he going to hold all this junk? The answer is with these robotic arms. These pop out of the backpack. They slide open. This is where I knocked the Gundam off the stand. I suggest if you ever want to do something like this, move the missiles around, move the cannon around, move those arms around, take the backpack off, or at least when you take the arms out, you got to click them out of place. And that's when I knocked him off the action stand. That's the only time that happened. But yeah, take the backpack off when you're doing heavy, heavy stuff to the backpack. Just moving one thing, yeah, who cares? Now, how does he hold them? Each shield has its own handle, which that claw hand can connect into. Now, for the double-barrel beam rifle, you take out the handle and you attach it into the fingers. You then attach the fingers into the hand, and then the gun goes on top of that. Basically, it all kind of builds around, and it holds it just fine. It's a really strong connection. It's just a little different way of putting a gun into a hand of a Gundam. And you can see the shield connects on top of that, and there's a little claw on the bottom of the handle section that hooks into the shield on top of the beam rifle. And there's the same thing is happening on the bazooka launcher, or rocket launcher, pardon me. And here you can see the claws holding the shields. They can move up, down, any angle you want. You can pose them any way you want. And you can see the rocket launcher in the left hand. The shield hooks, like I said, right on top of that. Holds it no problem. The elbows and shoulders are plenty strong enough. But like I said, there's so much junk going on here. An action stand's kind of required, or an action base is kind of required. The action stand they give you, I do not trust. I've seen pictures of it on that action stand, and I still don't trust it. Shake test. Well, he kind of drops the bazooka launcher. You never really let it go, though. I mean, I gave it a good shake, and yes, one thing did fall off, but you never dropped it, so bonus. Now, open up all the missile launchers. You got the missile launchers on the backpack. You got the missile launchers on the shoulder. You got the missile launchers on the skirt armor. You got the missile launchers on the knees. And technically, that's not all of them. I could also open up the missile launchers on the side skirt and the back skirt. However, the back skirt would then blow into the backpack. And you know what? Never mind. To open all these up, I suggest using a pair of tweezers. You can do it with your hand, but it's just a pain in the butt. There's so much junk going on with this kit. Just pull out the pair of tweezers and make your life easier. Final thoughts on this kit. I'm giving this kit a big thumbs up. I really enjoyed it. It is not an extremely difficult kit. It is a marathon build. There is a lot to do here. You got to build a Gundam. You got to build all the armor. You got to build all the accessories. You got to build the stand. You got all the decals. You got the vinyl. There's just a list of things to do. None of them are all that terrible. If you built master grades before, this isn't going to, be that terribly difficult for you. You're just going to take some time to do it. I'm really happy with the kit. I love the look. I love all the accessories. I love all the design choices they did. I mean, you can just look at this kit forever and look at all the different things on this kit. It's beautiful, wonderful, wonderful kit. I really enjoy it. I'm happy with my collection. In terms of Master Grade Kit of the Year, I'm going to give it to it. I think it beats Freedom. the Freedom 2.0 was a great kit, but it kind of was a little bit of the same old, same old. It really didn't bring anything that new to the table. It used other kits as a basis to build this 2.0. And it was a really good kit, don't get me wrong. Everything here is either original, or if it is based on something, it's just in the spirit of. There's no straight up copying of anything else. Can you see hints of other kits you've built? Yes, but no straight up copies. Good kit. I really like it. Thumbs up. New leader, Master Grade Kit of the Year. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions, please ask them. I will answer them as best as I can. Please stay tuned for more. I always got more reviews coming. And thanks you guys for watching. I'm sorry it took a little while to get this one out, but it was a long build. And, personal life got in the way a little bit. But it's done. It's out. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and one more thing. It is said in the OVA December Sky that you can tell that this Gundam is on its way because the pilot will play jazz. That's kind of his entrance music. He's coming when jazz is played. So it got me thinking, what music would play when other Gundams show up? The National Anthem. That one's pretty easy. Stone Cold Steve Austin's entrance music. Non-stop electro J-pop. Backstreet Boys and/or NSYNC. And of course, the theme song to Barney the Dinosaur. All by myself. Oh my God, what am I doing?